Hi everybody, so this is a pretty straightforward lesson on factoring trinomials. So what you notice is that each of these expressions here are trinomials because they have three terms. And another thing that they have in common is that they're all to the second power. So they have a second power variable in each one. So when we factor trinomials, really what we're doing is that we're figuring out what two binomials can be multiplied together to get the trinomial. Now, one of the things that, or tools that you've used before, is this little box method idea, where you say, okay, I have two different binomials. One goes on top, one goes on the side, and when I multiply them together, I get the terms inside that I then add together. So this is a little bit like a reverse process. So one of the things that we need to do is that we need to think kind of outside the box here. So we have an x squared is going to be the two terms, the first terms being multiplied together. And we know that the negative 15 is the last term that's being multiplied together. Now what go in these two boxes need to add up to be negative 14. Now I can already do a little bit of detective work here because I know that x times x is going to get me the x squared. So those are kind of it. So I just need to know what two factors here are going to add together to equal my negative 14. So let's see, they need to multiply to equal negative 15 and add together to equal negative 14. Well, how about negative 15 and positive 1? So I can show that by saying, okay, negative 15, positive 1. Okay, negative 15 times 1 does get me negative 15. 1 times x gets me x, or 1x. And negative 15 times x gets me negative 15x. And I can kind of double check that because, yep, it's x squared plus negative 15x plus x plus negative 15. And when I combine the negative 15x and the x, I get x squared plus negative 14x plus negative 15. So it looks like I found my two binomials. And the way that I would write that out is, okay, well then it would be x plus 1 times x minus 15, like so. So this is the factored trinomial. So this box method is great if you want to keep using it. Another way to think about this that I often do is saying, okay, well, I know that I'm going to look for two binomials here when I'm factoring. So I'm going to just set them up. This is just a different technique. I know that my first term is going to be x because x times x gets me that x squared. And now it's a little bit of a game because we need two things that multiply to be negative 10, which is our last term, and add to be positive 3. So I might say, okay, well, negative 5 times 2 is negative 10, but negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. So maybe I need to switch those so that actually it's positive 5 and negative 2. So positive 5 and negative 2, and let's just double check that. X times x, or I'm sorry, 5x would be my middle term, and negative 2x, which would add to equal positive 3x, and 5 times negative 2 gets you negative 10. You can always FOIL this out as well to double check, right? First, outer, inner, last. So I'd get x squared plus 5x minus 2x minus 10, and it looks like I am in fact going to get the trinomial that I started with. So my factored form is here, and it is correct. Now down here, one of the things that I notice is that my x squared is not in the front, so I might just switch the order of that just to make it a little easier to think of as x squared plus negative 5x plus 6. And again, just to kind of, for the sake of showing a bunch of different techniques here, we can use the box method. And again, we're trying to find out what's on the outside, what would be on the top, and what would be on the left-hand side there. We know that the two things multiply to be positive 6. We know that the first terms multiply to equal x squared, so we know that our first term of each of our binomials will be just an x. And now we just need two things that multiply to equal 6, positive 6, and add together to equal negative 5. Well, I know that negative 3 and negative 2 add up to be negative 5, and I know that negative 3 and negative 2 multiply to equal 6, so I'm going to go ahead and put a negative 2 and a negative 3, which should make this box negative 2x and this box negative 3x. And so my two binomials would be x minus 2, x minus 3. All right, last one for this set. So I'm going to go to kind of that second method again. All right, I know I'm looking for two binomials. I know the leading term is going to be x because we have an x squared here. I need two things that, I got to be careful my order. I'm going to change my order before I get too far into this, right? My 6x in the middle. I need two things that are going to add to be 6 and multiply to be 5. And I know that it's got to be a 1 and a positive 5, like so. Now, if you wanted to double check this again, you can multiply them together. Use the box method if you want, if that's how you want to play it. So I'm saying that x and positive 5 and x and 1 are going to multiply to get me my trinomial. And does it work out that that's the case? It's looking pretty good. And it looks like I'm golden.